YouTube, what up, what up, what up? Gas Mask back in the building for another video. Well, I got some good content right here for y'all. Should be a pretty interesting topic. Um, First off, as usual, I want to say, thank you to all my subs, man. We almost at 100, man. I had lost a sub and then one came back, and so we just at that 100 threshold. Which again, I appreciate each and every sub. I appreciate every comment, every like, even the dislikes, every share, um, all the comments, man. Whatever it is, man, I like to engage with the viewers, so I'm just appreciative for any interaction and y'all just spending time with me and checking out my videos, man. So yeah, man, it's gonna be a lot more where that came from, and I'm gonna keep it coming. Like we said, consistency is key. First goal is 100, which we're almost there. Then 1,000, you know what I mean? Then 10,000, and shit, we try and get to 100,000. We try 10x every time, man. So once again, um, shout out to the subs. If it's your first time here, don't forget to like, share, definitely subscribe, hit that sub button, and give me your comments, man. Leave a comment down in the comment section, good, bad, ugly, on different, man. Whatever it is, I don't want no yes man. I just want people's real feelings and thoughts and reactions, because that's all you ever gonna get from me is how I really feel and how I really see things. So let's kick it off like this, man. Kanye West, my man Yeezy, whatever you want to call him, versus Adidas and the Gap. And first off, I'm gonna say I'm gonna be a little biased, just because I am an artist. I am a creative. I'm a creator. I do music, and with that said, make sure y'all go follow my other page, which is Valley of the Kings, Kings with a Z. I dropped a couple videos on there, and then I also posted a little short of me and the gang down in Patchwork in Atlanta. It's the biggest studio in Atlanta where all the greats have recorded. And I got a whole lot more content for that page. I'm gonna be dropping a lot of music and different things as we move forward, man. So definitely go follow that page, subscribe to that page, Valley of the Kings with a Z. All right, so Yeezy versus Gap, and I'm gonna make this quick. Um, Yeezy versus Gap and Adidas. Like I said, I'm gonna always more so be biased for the creators, the creatives, and the artists, because we've seen, if it's in fashion, we see these big corporations stealing ideas and designs and different things from the creators, or music. We see, the labels keeping the masters and, giving artists these slave deals and fucking the artists over for their money and their royalties and things like these, or things like this. And, you know, that's not right. It's just not right. Now, there is some responsibility on us as the creatives to not sign these slave deals, and have our lawyers, not sign anything without looking, and make sure we have our lawyers on deck to look over the contracts to make sure, it's something that's acceptable. Sometimes it's difficult when, you're a starving artist, because we just hungry to get in the game, and then obviously these corporations and the labels, they got all the money, so which means they got all the leverage, they got all the connections, and they got the machine and all of that. So it's tough, man, as a creative or as an artist, trying to get your voice heard, or get your designs out there, or your product out there, or whatever the case may be. So there is some onus on us to know what we're getting into and know what we're signing, and understand, as much in totality as we possibly can about the industry that we're getting in and the contracts that we're signing. Now with Ye, I particularly like Ye because, Ye is a lot like me. He's not one of those creatives or artists or people that can just be easily controlled. He gonna speak his mind. He gonna say how he really feel. And I respect that, because I identify with that as an artist and as a person. Yeezy gonna pretty much speak his mind. Like I said, you know what I mean. He's not easily silenced. You know, for instance, like back in the day, I forget what the occasion was when he was on MTV, um, and he just came. You know, he reading from a script, and he just came out and said George Bush don't care about black people. It was like Hurricane Katrina. It was some disaster or tragedy, and they was doing some kind of like fundraiser. Um, and Yeezy came out and just said, you know, George Bush don't care about black people, and it was just silence, and everybody was just like, you know, nobody was expecting that, or like when he came, you know, jumped on stage and you know took the mic from Taylor Swift and said Beyonce deserved it. So, you know, Yeezy is you know, he's the kind of guy that you know he's gonna be genuine with how he really feel. And I just wish more artists would be that way. You know, Easy is kind of fearless in that manner. And, you know, so it's like, you know, if we start from kind of like the beginning, you know, I guess that would be Louis Vuitton kind of for the most part. And then I forgot what his beef was. You know, he came out with some great designs with the Louis shoes, which are still classics. Them joints go for probably tens of thousands of dollars now. They super rare, hard to, pretty much impossible to find. And you know, so we know Yeezy is a genius. You know, he's a creative genius. He's a musical genius. And you know, I forgot what his falling out was with Louis. I believe it was that he wanted more creative control, and I think they weren't willing to give that to him. The word is anyway, because you know they saw him as erratic and you know just spontaneous, and they wanted somebody more that they can control, like a Virgil, who you know Virgil ain't like that. Virgil's gonna be you know he's gonna follow the plan and he's gonna stick to the script and follow orders and you know that you see Louis eventually opened up the world for Virgil and let him do whatever he wanted for the most part, um, which is why Kanye was a little, you know, he was a little jealous that Virgil got the position that he had always, basically his dream position. So then we go from Louis V, you know, they had their falling out or whatever, which wasn't as publicized. But then we go from LV to Nike. And then, you know, we know how Nike is. Well, if you know, you know, but Nike is a very controlling company. They don't give people much creative control. You know, pretty much Travis Scott would be the exception to that rule where it seems like they've kind of like just opened the world for him to kind of not totally but in a way do what he wants in a way that they've never done for any other artist. And so you know they didn't want to give, you know, Kanye came with pretty much two of the best Nike shoes of all time, the Yeezy 1 and the Yeezy 2. I mean, those are timeless classic designs. I think those are the best Yeezy shoes to date, period. And some of the best Nike designs ever to be created, specifically the Yeezy 2. Um, Even though they're based off classic Nike basketball and Nike cross training elements, you know, Yeezy added his input and, you know, you know, the Nike Yeezys are up there with the top shoes literally ever created in my mind. You know, up there with the Jordans and the Agassiz and the Bo Jacksons and things like that. At least to me. Um, and so they didn't want to give Yeezy any royalties off of his shoes. They didn't want to give him any creative control. And you know, Yeezy being the type of person he is, he's gonna fight against that. And so obviously, Yeezy's relationship with Nike fell apart. But so far, the common theme is you have this creative genius who obviously knows what he's doing, who obviously has all this influence, who's obviously bringing all this revenue and hype and more validity and traffic to these brands, and they don't want to give him his just due. Okay, so then we got Adidas, who you know gave him creative control, a lot of creative control, and gave him a bigger platform. You know, gave him a lot of ownership, and you know, so you know, obviously Adidas learned from what happened with Nike and Kanye. You know, I think one of Nike's biggest mistakes, even though they'll never admit it, was letting Kanye go. I mean, that was a match made in heaven. Nike and Yeezy I mean, come on now. If you were around back when the Nike Yeezys was coming out back in '09, when you know what I mean, and '08 and '09, back when that whole thing first was starting, man, and you already know how that went. Um, but now we have, okay, so Yeezy has become a billionaire because you got, okay, so let's think about where Adidas was before Yeezy came along. You had the Boost hype, okay, which fizzled and died out. That was super hype, and that was the wave for a while, and that fizzled out and died. And then we had the NMD hype around the same time, which was the wave and the rave, and then that died off. And so after the Boost, like Ultra Boost, and then the NMDs, after that wave died, nobody cared about Adidas. Adidas was pretty much falling off. No, nobody cared. Their 4D technology was too little, too late. It wasn't comfortable. Nobody cared. So with the Yeezy brand, I mean, that revived Adidas as a brand in a way that you can't even really calculate, or quantify, because I mean, again, I mean, Yeezy is the reason right now that Adidas is relevant in the way that it is and at the forefront of sneaker and footwear culture, how it is. I mean, there's no denying that. Um, and Yeezy did that, from when he first came with the 750s, and then the 350s, and I mean, look at what 350s have done. I mean, people still wearing and buying 350s, and that started, back in like 2015, 2014, 2015. I think the 750s first started. I know the Turtle Doves first came out in 2015, July 27th, 2015. Don't ask me why I know that. But that's because that's 2 days after my birthday, and then that same day the Jordan 1 Shattered Backboards 1.0 came out too. And I remember because I'm running all over the town, all over the city, picking up my shoes from raffles, and it was just a crazy day. But so now here we are, where you got a situation where you got to give Adidas credit, because they did give Yeezy a huge platform and give him ownership and put him in a position to become a billionaire. Um, they gave their whole kind of machine, from manufacturing and distribution to Yeezy, to really flourish and do what he's done, and become what he's become in the fashion world. Um, Yeezy, if he hasn't jumped over the jump man, I mean, he's right there, kind of neck and neck with him in such a smaller amount of time, man. It's crazy. Not quite, because Jordan, his Jordans have lasted long beyond Jordan being an actual player in the game, so we can't quite compare the two. But what Yeezy has done in such a short time is pretty much unprecedented. It's unmatched. It's never been done before. So we gotta make sure we always put that respect on Yeezy's name because of what he's done. Um, Now, um, what we have now is, like Yeezy is accusing Adidas, and I don't believe he's lying. Accusing, like he said, Adidas came up with Yeezy Day without Yeezy's approval. They're re-releasing certain shoes and colorways without his approval. Um, they're renaming colorways of his shoes without his approval. They're stealing some of his creative designers and creative, and things, and all type of things. They're copying his designs and things like that. They don't want to give him credit. Like his Yeezy slides. They got their own version that look exactly like the Yeezy slides. They got the new it's the Adidas Q something shoe that looked like the foam runner, and so it's like, this is egregious, and it's not acceptable, and Yeezy needs to be compensated for these things. Um, Gap, you know, same thing. So he's ending his relationship with these people. A lot of people are saying Yeezy is crazy. Yeezy's mental health is gone, and I think a lot of people are just followers that don't think for themselves and just regurgitate what mainstream, these mainstream narratives. Yeezy can't really do all that he's done if they're saying he's as off as they're saying he is, and he's just off the rocker and just crazy and just can't, we can't trust him, we can't listen to him. He's, he needs his meds and all this, and I just think that, he's been pushed to a place where maybe that could be the case, or maybe that has been the case. But I think Yeezy's pretty much on point. When you hear the man talk about his business and his vision for his business, and his designs and his ideas, this man want to create architecture and buildings and communities and schools. And I mean, and it's like people want to like put a ceiling on what he can do. And I mean, you can't really do that. You know what I mean? So I think it's a classic situation. Also, I gotta salute Yeezy because again, Yeezy now is at the point where I believe he's gonna try to do his own manufacturing and his own distribution. And I believe, with his financial status at this point, he's probably in a position to be able to do that. So it's gonna be interesting to watch, where things go from here, um, as he parts ways with Adidas and Gap. And Yeezy actually, if y'all seen the interview that he did on CNBC the other day, they brought up when, I think it was 10 years ago when he was being interviewed by Sway, and we all know the famous meme when he told Sway, "You ain't got the answer, Sway," but Sway was telling him that, look, Yeezy, why don't you do your own thing? You don't need these big corporations. Do your own distribution and manufacturing. And Sway was right. I just think that at that time, Ye was not in the position to really do it, to the level that you know, he needed to be able to do it. Whereas now, he's shown his worth, he's proved himself, and now he's got the, I think he's got the resources and the track record to be able to do it to a level where nobody should really be questioning him. And so again, I've gone on a pretty long rant on this one. I just wanted to get my thoughts out there. Salute Yeezy, as a creative, as a creator, as an artist, for not selling for less, for not allowing himself to be smacked around. And, what I mean? Like, he's an inspiration to any of us that is a creator or artist, because, he just won't be told no. And he's got, supreme belief in himself and his abilities, man. And that's how we all should be. So, and Yeezy not perfect. He got some issues too, obviously. Um, but, that's for another video. So, what do y'all think, man? I would love to hear y'all's comments. I saw a dude whose platform I watch a lot, Hello Yassine, and he was pretty much saying that, Yeezy should be thankful to these big brands. Yeezy's crazy. Wow, and he's too arrogant and he's too egotistical. And, Yeezy is arrogant and he is an egomaniac. But, he's earned the right to be that way because he's shown that he's a creative genius. He's shown that he has his hands and fingers on the pulse of the culture, of creative and design, and what people like and don't like. So, you got, it's give and take. You got to take the good with the bad with that. You know what I mean? And but that's really the end of my rant, man. At this point, I would love to know what y'all think about this whole Yeezy versus Adidas, Yeezy versus Gap, and pretty much Yeezy versus the machine. Um, you know, I didn't even get into how, like, the way Jay-Z signed him. He signed Yeezy to a lifetime deal, to pretty much where saying Yeezy cannot retire ever. And Yeezy talked about that when he went on his rant on stage in Sacramento, and they took him, against his will to a hospital under a 5150, hole where they, against your will, they shoot you up with drugs, and he came out, with blonde hair, looking like he had been, reprogrammed, and drugged up. Again, that's another story. But yeah, man, I would love to hear y'all's comments and y'all's perspective on this. Like I said, I'm an artist and a creative myself, so I'm gonna be a little biased in these type of situations and side with the artists, because we've seen how the artists have gotten taken advantage of, um, for decades, and that is really time for that to stop. And it takes for somebody like Yeezy, with the type of power and influence that he has, to really kind of start to bring a change to these type of things. So I'm gonna end off the video with that. Once again, shout out to all my subs. I appreciate each and every one of y'all. Don't forget to like the video, comment, um, subscribe, of course, hit that notification bell. But again, um, I want to hear y'all thoughts, man. Down in the comment section, let me know what y'all think about this topic. And once again, it's another one. Gas Mask, up out of here. Go.